So we have the latest and greatest available to us to play with. From Google, we have Android N, which is Android 7.0, and as you know, N stands for Nougat. From Apple, we have iOS 10. For a while now, both Google and Apple have been adding new features, better power management, better app management, as well as stability, tweaks, and enhancements to their respective mobile operating systems. So we now have two really fantastic systems, and in this video I want to compare and contrast some of the major features of Android and iOS, such as the notifications panel, quick toggles, control center, text messaging features, overall design, and such. So let's dive in. Now the first thing I want to take a look at is the notifications panel on both of these devices. Okay, so let's pull the one on the Nexus 6P Android N and iOS 10 on the iPhone 6s. And there we go. So we have two different designs with a lot of information given to us. On both of these things, we have the stacked view. On the iPhone, you have the rounded corners. Nexus 6P, they're square corners. So in my opinion, the one on the Nexus 6P actually looks slightly better because it just seems more refined. Now, before I dive in, let me just quickly take a look at one thing. So here we have a text message and here we have a text message, okay? So in both of these phones, you can interact with the text messages right through notifications panel. So let's do the one for the Nexus 6P. So what you can do is, as you can see, there's an option here that says reply. If you click on reply, you can respond to this message right here and right now. So I can say hi, and I can simply click send. And now, right from my notifications panel, I was able to respond to that message. The good news is you can do the same thing in iOS 10. What you have to do is you have to perform a 3D touch press on the screen, which just means you firmly press on the screen. When you do that, it actually brings up the text message, and from here you can respond right through the window. Now the difference on iOS 10 as opposed to Android N is that if you say hi and if you click send, you can actually continue the conversation in this little window. Only when you're done, you can press X and you can get out of there. Fantastic. Now, if you keep digging down deeper in the notifications panel, you will see that the one on the Android N is slightly more advanced. So you can still interact with all these little messages. You can do a 3D touch, or you can swipe to the left and you can clear the notifications that you want to dismiss. So you can do the same thing with this one over here, clear. Let's swipe over, clear, which is absolutely fantastic. Now on the Android N, what you can do is you can also clear simply by swiping it away. But with certain applications such as Gmail, you can actually interact much deeper than what you can do on the iOS 10. So here, for example, what I can do is it looks like I have a couple messages over here. What I can do is I can swipe down and I can expand that stack. So I can dig down deeper into individual stacks. Not only that, I can even expand further down on individual messages. And from there, I have actually a couple options. So here I can click delete, and that deletes the message. And let's say that I want to reply to a message, a Gmail message from the notifications panel as I am inspecting my notifications. Once I scroll down, I can click reply, and that launches the Gmail application from where I can directly respond to that message. In addition to that, I can actually customize my notifications right from here. So let's say in relation to the Gmail app, I want to customize the way I receive the notifications. All I have to do is either scroll to the left, which brings up the setting button, and I can tap on it, and that's going to allow me to change the settings for that individual Gmail application, and I can click done, or I can press and hold, and that brings up the same menu. Now with the iPhone, you cannot do that. What you would have to do if you want to customize individual notifications is you have to go into the settings, you have to go into notifications, you have to find the app that you're looking for, then you can go inside and you can customize the settings. So that's not a big deal. You can still customize the notifications for each app on the iPhone in a very nice detail, but unlike the Android N, you cannot do it right from the notifications shade. And from here, if I press and hold, you can go directly into the more settings, which gives you some more detailed options. The next thing I want to talk about is the control panel. So with the iPhone, the control panel resides on the bottom. So you do a pull up, and it brings up the control panel, which basically has some quick toggles right over here, you know, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, rotation lock, airplane mode, and stuff like that. You have access to your flashlight, your timer, your calculator, your camera, and a couple other useful features right over here, including the brightness. Now on the Android end, you have the brightness up here as well. Okay, so what you have to do, on the Android end, the control center, the quick toggles center is on the top. You pull down twice to access it. And again, you can actually change the brightness from here, and you can turn on and off your quick toggles. However, Android N takes a slight lead because this quick toggle center is in fact customizable. And that is a category in which Android leads all the time. Customization and personalization is one of the highlights of Android. So if I click Edit, it takes me into a menu from where I can actually make changes to the way I want things arranged, and I can even remove things I don't need. If I don't want this quick toggle, I just drag and drop it. I go back, and that quick toggle is now gone from my window. You can also swipe over, and you can add more toggles as you need. Now, iOS 10's control center is pretty much set in stone. You cannot customize it. Now, one thing that the iOS 10 control center has that the Android N doesn't is if you swipe over, you actually get a separate card just for music controls. You get the play button, you get the pause button, next track, previous track, and you do get album art on your phone if you're actually playing music. And you can also control the volume. So let's click play, see what happens. And that's what the card looks like. So you get the album art, you get the title of the album, the song that's playing. Not too bad. It's not something you're going to get on Android N, at least for now. All right, so there's a quick look at the control centers of both of these devices. And one more thing I want to show you guys is if you use two fingers, you can simply swipe down, and that brings the control quick toggle center much quicker as opposed to pulling down twice. So 1, 2 is what you would usually get, but if you use two fingers, the whole thing comes straight down. And the other thing I want to show you guys is if you do pull it one time, you do get quick access to these most important quick toggles that you can also rearrange. So you got the battery, you got the flashlight, you got the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And sometimes when you click some of these quick toggles, instead of turning that thing off or turning it on, it actually gives you some detailed options. So if I press this, it actually expands that quick toggle and gives me some more details. And when I'm done, I can simply click this and it goes right back. Now if I press and hold the quick toggle, that takes me into the detailed settings, actual settings of that particular toggle, which in this case is Wi-Fi. Okay, so there's a little more playroom on the Android N as opposed to the set in stone style of iOS 10. Alright, so quickly let me talk about the customization abilities of Android. So as you know, Android is more customizable and more personalizable than iOS. If you look at iOS, you have a static grid of app icons. When you download an app, the icon goes onto the main home screen, and from here, all you can do is move it around. Okay, you can also create folders if you want, and they look great, and you can give the folders some names. You can do the same thing on Android. Here's some folders. Here's a finance folder for some banking applications. Same thing over here you can do. But the difference is in Android N, you can do some customization. If you press and hold on the screen, you can actually add widgets. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this, but it's something that I do want to highlight. So if I go down here, I can grab a widget and I can put this straight on the screen. And I can put it anywhere that I want. So this way I can create some really customized experiences for myself. If you tap and hold again, you can change the settings, you can change the wallpapers. If you go into the settings, it takes you into the settings from where you can do some other things. And even though iPhone has widgets, it simply doesn't have the kind of widgets that you can simply drag and drop onto the main home screens. Now if I scroll over, here's some widgets, okay, and they're fantastic. You know, they're nice cards, they give you good information, and you can go all the way down, click edit, and you can add or remove widgets. If you want to add a widget, you simply press plus. Let's do plus on the notes right over here. Now that's part of my widgets screen at the bottom over here. And as you can see, I have all these nice, cute looking widgets. But the thing is, with Android, you can have them on your main screen, so you don't have to scroll or over to get something. Now, if you do scroll over here on Android N, you actually get Google. And if you have Google Now enabled, you have a lot of useful information that you get to see in the form of some cards, okay, which is fantastic. So basically they have the same thing, okay, but on top of having this side widgets, on top of having these side widgets and side cards with nice useful information, Android allows you to add widgets onto the screen, okay. And again, if I go here, tap on widgets, you have all these different widgets that you have. And of course, you can go and download millions of other widgets on the actual Play Store. You can have widgets for stocks, for weather. You can create your own unique text widgets. You can have photo gallery widgets. You can have anything you want, basically. Most of the apps even allow you to add widgets. For example, some of these banking apps that I have allow you to add widgets onto the screen. So when you log into your phone, you can quickly take a look at a stock price. You can take a look at your account balances and stuff like that right on the home screen. Now, one category where iOS 10 definitely leads over Android N is the messaging application. So let's launch messages. Let's go into messages, and here's a messaging window, and let's launch this one over here. And okay, let's just pick this one right over here. And from here, what we can do is we can do some amazing stuff on iOS 10, which we cannot do in the messaging application on Android N. Now, one thing I do like is I can press this attachment button, and from here the camera launches, and that's a live view, by the way, and I can simply click this. That takes a picture, and that sends the picture over to the person on the other side. You can do the same thing with iOS, and of course you can do the same thing on iMessages on iOS 10, but it's a little more advanced. So you have to tap the arrow button. That brings up three options. If you click on camera, you get a live view, and here it is. That's a live view, and you can take a picture, okay? And instead of sending the picture right over to the other person, it actually gives the option to send the picture. So in this scenario, when I take a picture, it sends the picture right over to the next person. On iMessages, it puts the picture into the box, the send message box, and from here you can delete that picture if you want, or if you tap on the picture, you can in fact edit that picture. You can add markup, you can click edit, and you can change some lighting conditions, maybe add some special effects. But let me show you what the markup looks like. Let's click this. Now if you scroll over, you get access to your gallery. From here, from the gallery, you can tap on any picture, right? And you can tap on the picture again, and you can go and you can add some markup. So let's say I want to highlight the button over here. I can draw a circle. I can turn that into a perfect circle, and I can actually move this around. And then if I wanted to, I can even add some text, okay? And then I can click save. And then when I'm satisfied with the way my picture looks, I can even edit the picture, okay? And like I said, you can add some effects. So let's add a little effect here, black and white. I can click done, and then I can send this picture to the person that I wanted to send it to. So even sending something as simple as a picture is quite advanced on iMessage application as opposed to Android N. On top of that, you can send some really personal things like these gestures over here. Okay, so I can double tap here. I'll send circles. If I tap and hold, it creates this special effect. If I use two fingers, it sends a heart over to the person, which is not bad at all. And finally, I can send messages to other people with some special effects. So let's type something and let's say hi. What I can do is I can do a 3D touch, and that brings up these options. From here, I can slam a message to the person. I can actually send it with the loud effect, and I can also send it with the gentle effect, and I can also send an invisible ink. That means the other person would have to swipe his fingers over the message to reveal what I said. And also you can add these other screen effects like the balloons, party style, disco music, and fireworks. Okay, so you can do all these things on iMessage and more. But those are some of the basic differences between messaging applications on both of these phones, just so you know. So now let's talk about something where Android has an absolute lead. Now if you look at the iPads actually do offer multitasking on iOS, but the iPhones so far have absolutely no support for multitasking. So with multitasking, what I mean is, let's say I want to run two windows side by side. So here's one window. Let's launch another one right over here. Let's launch Play Store. And let's say I want to multitask with Chrome and Play Store at the same time. With Android, press and hold, boom, we got the multitasking pane. Click this. Now I can be working on this app and this app side by side. I can even resize these things. So if I want to put some focus on the Chrome browser, I can simply drag this down. Or if I want to work on the apps, I can put the focus on this by increasing the size. When I'm done, I can get rid of it. Okay? On the iPhone, multitasking is simply a dream as of now. We don't know what's going to happen, but as of now, multitasking is not possible on iOS for the iPhones. And one more thing with the multitasking, we do have task switchers, obviously, on both of these guys. With the iPhone, double tap brings up the task switcher, and you can pick the one that you want to go into, right? But with the Android, there is something else you can do. If I press this button, as you can see, Chrome is the first window, and apps and games is the second window. If I double tap this, it switches between the two most recent windows. So it's switching between Play Store and Chrome, and that's a good way to multitask because I can jump back and forth between two applications very easily. Okay, so it's the application, the most two recent applications. If I get rid of this one, now it's going to be the text messaging application and Chrome, and I can switch back and forth simply by double tapping that square button. Okay, so that's not possible on the iPhone, but you do have the task switcher, and from there you can pick what you need. I also like to take a look at the stock applications and see how they stack up with each other. So we looked at the text messaging applications, and clearly the one on the iPhone is better on iOS 10. And let's take a look at other stuff, like simple stuff like the calculator application. So here we go, nice refined view. Let's get the same thing over here. There we go. So that's the calculator applications. Very nice and basic. They both look really nice. Let's look at the clock application, for example. So here's the clock, and here is the clock. And honestly, I think the one on the Android end looks a little bit better. So you get the timer, you got the world clocks, and you got the stopwatch. Not bad at all. Okay, and then over here, there's the stopwatch. This is the bedtime stuff, alarms, world clock, and whatnot. I do like the one on Android and better. It has a more flat, futuristic design. Now here's the phone application with the dialer. On the iPhone, we have a standard style for a long time, and that's the style we have on the Android, and they're both really, really nice, simple, and to the point. And here's the calendar application, and in this instance, I do want to say that I like the one on the iPhone better. You can even get the annual view, which I really like. It gives you a nice quick glance into the future, in the past, whatever, if you need to look up a date. I don't see that we can do it over here. Let's tap this. There we go. So we don't have the option to do that on this application. We can do the day view, the 3-day view, and the week view, which we can also do here. Okay, if you want a week view, you can also get it here. You can do today. Let's look at the daily view. Pretty similar, nice and organized. But those are some of the apps, the stock apps we want to look into. And of course, we have the music application right over here. Okay, let's go back over here to the main. That's the main screen. And on the Android, it's Google Music, which should be right over here. Play music. Okay, not too bad. So there we go. I do want to let you know that the one on the iPhone is slightly smoother than the one on the Android. Now, as for overall system stability, I do want to say that as I was playing with the Android N and as I'm playing with the iOS 10, they're both very smooth and stable systems with literally no lag anywhere whatsoever. Okay? So as I browse through the menus, as I go and I look at the apps, they're both very silky smooth, and I haven't seen any stuttering or any lag on the Android N on Nexus 6P or on iOS 10 on the iPhone 6s. And this is a category in which Android has been playing catch up with iOS because iOS has been smooth and stable for a long, long time. But in the old times, Android phones used to lag all the time. Now they are much smoother and they're much stable. Now, one more thing I want to take a look at that a lot of people don't think about is the settings menu. If I go into the settings menu, okay, if you look at it carefully, the settings menu on the Nexus 6P is much more advanced. You even get some suggestions on the top. And if you scroll down under each setting title, such as the Wi-Fi setting, it gives you some information. So here I can see that I'm connected to the Saki Wi-Fi network. And if you scroll down, it tells you ringer volume is at 86%, 61 apps installed. It tells you how much storage is being used and all kinds of tiny useful information that you may want to look at and gather some information. On iOS, that is not the case. You just get a straight up menu. You can perform searches in either one of these operating systems. So if you're looking for a particular settings, but you cannot find it, you can simply go in and you can search them up, okay, which is very useful. And that is basically what I wanted to take a look at. And these are some of the newer features on both of these phones, and I want to show you guys how they stack up to each other. Remember, either phone is going to be smooth and stable, but there's minor differences. In some cases, Android wins. In other cases, iOS wins. Unfortunately, we don't have a phone that is a fusion of iOS and Android that probably would have been the perfect phone, but this is what we have right now. So what I want you guys to do is in the comments below, let me know which operating system you prefer. Do you like iOS 10 or do you like Android N? And you can also let me know why. Well, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to Saki Tech and give this video a thumbs up. Also, follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Saki Tech Online, for which links are in the description below. Have a fantastic day.